At the moment, our biggest threat is rhino poaching. It can change. Tomorrow it can be elephant poaching. They can start poaching crocodiles or lions. You never know what the future holds. If you look at the percentage of the world's rhinos that are walking within the Kruger National Park boundaries, it's vital, it's critical that we save this natural heritage.
The cost of electricity has escalated far beyond what other things have escalated in South Africa. And therefore, any way to keep the price of electricity down is so important to the dealer.
Well, the reality is we're always in trouble, as most funders don't give us a 3-year contract. People give us funding for a year, for this project or for that project, and so we rock and roll.
Total is a leading oil and gas company. We sell high-quality products, petrol, diesel, lubricants, specialties. We are highly invested within the country from a storage and a depot perspective. One of the cornerstones of our corporate social investments is to ensure that we nurture long-term relationships with our partners for long-term growth and long-term sustainability. Conservation is quite important to Total because it forms one of the key pillars within our corporate social investment strategy, which is around heritage.
Every day you wake up and you never know what that day is going to bring. We'd get to the hangar, pre-flight an aircraft, have a cup of coffee, and the calls would come in, and that'll be anything from saving an animal to following up on anti-poaching support missions. The Kruger National Park is almost 2 million hectares. It's one of the bigger national parks of the world. There's literally vast areas within the parks with no road access because we try and keep it as wilderness and as natural as possible. So the only way to gain access to those areas is by air or on foot. Nothing will get done if you have to walk everywhere.
The relationship with Kruger National Parks is one of the oldest within the Total Group globally. It started in 1958 and is 60 years old. We do various initiatives with Kruger National Park. One of the key ones that have started recently is the sponsorship of the National Airwing Project.
The Airwing is tasked to provide aerial support functions to all of the South African National Parks departments. So historically, that would have been mainly conservation functions. Game capture, wildlife census, logistical support, those kind of flying. In recent years, with this massive escalation in poaching, and specifically rhino poaching, 85% of our flying or our aerial support missions is in support of anti-poaching initiatives.
Given that we could have anything from 3 to 7 poaching groups coming into the park or incursions into the park per day. The rangers make up the bulk of the boots on the ground. They are at the front line every day.
We would provide logistical support, troop movements, canine movements, those kind of flights, or active reaction flights in support of rangers and anti-poaching support teams on the ground, where they're on active follow-ups with suspected groups of poachers, and we provide close air support to them. A lot of our operations culminates in a contact with poachers, and there's been a few shooting incidents, and with an aircraft overhead, you can just provide much better security and safety to the guys on the ground.
Our air services are really a very important and critical support unit to the operations.
The biggest challenge in running this operation is the cost involved. About a third of our operational costs is our fuel costs. Not able to respond to every single call out because we can only have 1 or 2 aircraft in the air as opposed to all 4 aircraft flying at the same time.
Total has decided to partner with the Sandparks Airwing project to provide around 4.3 million rands worth of fuel to ensure that we are able to keep them airborne and fight the scourge against poaching.
With this, it's definitely changed. I mean, it's changed for the better, and it's allowed us to operate better and more efficiently.
We are quite excited and invigorated to know that we are able to support this amazing initiative and to try and decrease the total number of rhinos that have been poached.
The ranger teams on the ground would just not be able to achieve what they do achieve without air support.
Total is committed to better energy and better sources of energy. We have a requirement to reduce the total CO2 emissions that we have on our operations. One of the easiest ways to do that is to take our retail sites off the grid and move them onto solar-powered sources of energy.
I am the dealer for Total Westgate. The costs on electricity and other utilities are incredibly important to us. The refrigeration, bain-maries, the ovens that we bake off our pies really consume a lot of electricity. These things are done mainly during the day. Your electricity is peaking, so the price of that electricity is more expensive, and it's become a major burden to us. About 4 months ago, a team arrived on site and actually installed 39 panels on our roof.
The installation that we've got at Total Westgate is what we call a grid-tied solution. That means it doesn't have any battery backup capacity in the normal sense. Whenever the sun is shining, the energy production from the solar panels are converted through an inverter, and this supplements your normal supply from the local grid. But the main motivation behind that one is a cost saving on your monthly electricity bill.
We have solarized around 50 stations locally. The key rationale behind it is to ensure that our retail sites are modern in the sense that they're running on cleaner energy.
The decision of putting solar panels in is it's a no-brainer. It has to be done. In South Africa, with our resources, we have to find ways, just for the planet, just for the country, with our carbon-based electricity. So anything that we can do to save our little planet is the right direction to go in.
Arts and culture and education in general is an absolutely key component of our corporate social investment strategy. We have decided to partner with Sibikwa, a multidisciplinary arts and culture education initiative, and we have been sponsoring them for close to 20 years. This is quite a special relationship and quite a special sponsorship for us.
I accompanied my friend to Sibikwa once because she just asked me to come with her. And then when I came, I watched her do the classes and I ended up liking it, so I took registration forms that day and I took them to my mom and I begged her to come next year. Being introduced to like this new atmosphere, it was just inspiring and I wanted to be part of it.
The Saturday Arts Academy program is geared towards children, mainly school-going children. We have 154 registered learners from the ages of 6 to 24, and they attend classes in drumming. We have specialized programs in drama and dance. It's geared to develop children through the arts, to teach them to focus, to concentrate, to attain certain goals.
Well, I've seen children improving, actually, because I've seen the efforts of Sibikwa. The teachers say this child is not to be able to focus and concentrate, but since he started at Sibikwa, the child can do something, focus and concentrate.
We do hip-hop, we do drama, but us juniors don't do drama. We do reading, we do drumming. If I wasn't coming here, I would be at my grand's or church, because I'm a busybody and I need to do something. I can't just do nothing. The art class, it's all about drawing, it's all about painting, and you need to focus in that. I enjoy most hip-hop. We learn to have expression. We learn to actually improve ourselves by dancing.
We are incredibly lucky with Total. They support the Saturday Arts Academy. They've been supporting us for over 20 years. I've never heard of a corporate supporting for over 20 years.
I feel grateful because otherwise without Total we wouldn't have gone very far.
What is special about Sibikwa is the fact that kids who would not otherwise have the opportunity to study the disciplines of arts, culture and music, we have been able to provide them with the opportunity and the platform to be able to study these various aspects.
When you dance, it's like you're using your full body to move. Your body is moving with how you're breathing. So it's like rhythmical, you're listening to yourself. You know, when you dance, you don't only have to be yourself, but you're exploring everything else. So when you come to Sibikwa, you are actually growing yourself and doing something good with that time, you know. I have learned how to think out of the box, not only academically and logically. So it helps my way of thinking, yeah.
We have seen tremendous returns on the investments that we have made in the various communities. We have seen kids benefit from arts and culture and being able to play in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of people.
We don't want monuments to arts. We want a place where people feel welcome and warm and where it's their place and they can enjoy themselves here and have a good experience.
Just to be involved in the Sandparks Airwing project and being on the cutting edge on the anti-poaching drive, we believe that we have made a real difference.
We all love wildlife and we've all got a very special love and a special affinity to Kruger National Park. I mean, there's something about the place that just makes you want to be here. And then the cause, I mean, what better job, if you want to call it that, than to fly these magnificent aircraft in a piece of paradise like Kruger, saving animals.
We will continue to ensure that we invest in these communities and make the long-lasting differences that we have made in the past.
Santalina is 'n baie rustige plek. Is 'n vissersgemeenskap. Ek woon my hele lewe lankie. Hier is eintlik ook anderlike werkie. Is net so hier en daar wat iemand miskien by die hotel werk of maintenance werk doen of as 'n kennerin of kenner, maar almal is eintlik afhanklik van Lucky Star. Omdat ons 'n vissersgemeenskap is, het ons geglo as ons uit die skool uitgaan, dan gaan ons fabriek toe.
The communities, especially on the West Coast, are close to our heart because that's where Oceana started. In 1918, in Lambert's Bay, in the lobster factory, we've adopted this philosophy that we're not just here to add value to our investors, we're also here to make a positive impact in the communities that we operate. Oceana is the largest fishing company in Africa. We distribute fish and fish protein products to consumers in over 46 countries in the world. We're home-based in Cape Town, so we're proudly South African. We're the home of the famous Lucky Star brand.
Ik werk nu al 38 jaar voor Oceana. Van visbakker af, totdat ik nou quality controle is. Ik heb die hele maatschappij, heb ik nu al die gewerkt.
We are using water in almost all of these operations. And if we don't have the steam, then it means we don't have production.
With the Western Cape, as you know, facing a drought crisis, we realized that if the taps turn off, well, then we're going to have to shut down those plants. 3,000 jobs would have been lost because we would have had to close down our facilities.
As die fabriek moet toemaak, sal er nergens werk wees. Dan sou ons 'n spookdorpie geraak het.
The drought was going to be a huge business risk. It was going to come with a huge financial impact in terms of our operations and our sustainability. But more important was that our employees and their families, they were going to run out of water. We needed to come up with something to be self-sufficient and be able to keep this plant running and be sustainable. One of advantage was we have water just next to us. We then started to draw the water from the sea to the desalination plant. By us producing the amount of water of which we are 80% of the grid, that means that water that we would have used from the municipality, we don't take anymore. So the benefits are way beyond what just operation for this project.
Currently, the pilchard resource in South Africa is at a cyclical low. We have partner canneries in Asia, and so we did have an alternative, which was to send all of that fish to Asia to can. So the consumer in South Africa would not have been affected, but our employees and the communities on the West Coast would have. We made, again, a conscious decision to keep our factories going in South Africa, and we've brought into South African production more and more of the fish that we catch elsewhere in the world. In so doing, not only have we retained the jobs, but we've increased labor hours and the contribution to those communities by double. So the cannery used to run 2 to 2.5 days a week. Now it runs 4 to 5 days a week.
Hulle probeer regtig om vir ons werk te skep, sodat ons kan aangaan, sodat ons gemeenskap nie moet verarm nie. Ons kan nie dat dit toemaak nie. En dit is al wat ons het.
The Oceana Group, through its brand, has a significant presence in the South African economy. From an operations point of view, over 3,500 of our people are in over 18 sites in South Africa and predominantly on the West Coast. We have 6 factories and then 12 cold storage facilities. It's imperative that companies like ourselves play an active role in the continued transformation of our society. So the continued flow of economic benefit into the hands of previously disadvantaged must be paramount to what we do.
The Oceana Empowerment Trust was formed in 2006. They said that we would like to offer our black employees across the group participatory rights in this trust, and each participatory right equated to a share in Oceana. The intention there was to redress some of the economic inequalities in the country.
I'm working at CCS Logistics. I'm operation clerk. I'm living in Guguletu. I have 2 children and my husband, and we live on this shack. That was very difficult. There's one thing I think that time, to buy a house, to get out of that shack.
The trust represents about 2,500 black beneficiaries. It owns 10% in Oceana Group, and that equates to about 13 million shares. And it makes it the biggest black-owned, black-controlled fishing company really in South Africa.
I hear in the newspapers, the shares, what is shares. When you have shares, you're gonna have money, and that money is looking like a money you hide. You have money, but you don't use that money.
The trust had done so well that we wanted to give back to our beneficiaries earlier than the end of the lock-in period. So the first early payout took place in 2014.
I was shocked when I see the payslip. Hey, how much is this? Oh my God, splendid numbers. My heart made poof, 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 poof. I told myself, this money is for buying a house. There is only way to get out of this shack. And then I bought this house. I was very excited. I was very happy. Yo, I say, God, you bless me.
Subsequently, we received many wonderful stories from beneficiaries and what they had done with their payout, how to change their lives. And that inspired us to do the competition. They sent letters in, and there was prizes up to 100,000.
I wrote my story, a small story for me. Later on, I get a phone call. Hi, are you Busalam Keni? I say, yes. You won 20,000. You are the 3rd winner. Oh, okay. I say, wow. Yeah? On that 20,000, I bought a fridge, double bed, 4-plate stove, microwave.
In January 2021, the staff who are beneficiaries of this trust will physically receive fully paid for Oceana shares. And on that date, they will have the choice to hold on to the shares and be dividend earners, or to sell the shares on the open market.
We hope at that stage that these shares continue to change lives, not only for the beneficiaries themselves, but for their families, for the next generation.
Even now, I'm still waiting. It's going to change more and more and more in my life. I think also my children is going to go to school with that money from.
In the South African context, a responsible and transformed commercial fishing sector is critical to unlocking the economic development that the country needs. Part and parcel of that must be the enhancement of skills, whether it's crew members or artisans or engineers or marine science. These skills are not prevalent, and particularly black skills aren't prevalent in our sector. So we want to make it attractive for individuals to have a meaningful career in the fishing space.
I always had a passion to go to sea. While I was in matric, I wanted to join the Navy, but my application wasn't successful. And then somehow I ended up in the fishing industry, being employed by Oceana.
Our program was called the South Africanization Program, and it was simply to transfer skills from qualified Russians to unemployed South African youth. And our approach was to bring people that had absolutely no skill or background in fishing and gave them the opportunity to work on the Desert Diamond and build up their career at sea.
We brought into our fleet a vessel called the Desert Diamond. The Desert Diamond is South Africa's biggest fishing vessel. That vessel comes from Russia.
I first stepped my foot on the gangway on 12th of April 2004. I just came from school knowing nothing about life, just boarding this vessel, this big ship. When I started off, it was really difficult. I had to pick up some words, Russian words by ear, and I stole with the eye and ear, and that's how I learned myself and adapt to the conditions on board the vessel.
The Desert Diamond is a freezer trawler or a factory trawler, so it means we are processing whatever we catch on board into a frozen form, which can go directly to the market. You can't teach a person in a class how to fish, and that had to come from coaching and mentoring on board.
The captain, Anatoly, was a big role model. He was a big mentor in my life. Two of us became like father and son. Every day when I came from duty, I would come up to the bridge, ask him permission to steer the vessel, and then he'll show me how to steer the vessel. He saw I was willing to learn, and he saw that opportunity in me.
So Eugene is a real success story in the South Africanization program. We saw the opportunity that he could develop very quickly. And then, end of last year, we decided with our oldest captain on the brink of retirement, Eugene would be the next captain.
It still hasn't really sunk in. Me being as captain, I'm still the humble guy. I'm still the guy that I was 15 years ago, but more wiser. It was a lifetime. There was a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifices that I have to make, spending time away from my family, but it all paid off at the end of the day. The company gives you opportunity, allowing you to develop your skills as a seafarer. At the end of the day, it's all up to you what you're going to make of it. So honestly, it was an amazing journey up until now, and it's still continuing.
Our vision is more and more to play a significant role in society. We are players in the sustainability space. We understand that we have a role to play in the longevity of the species in which we harvest. We are strong on compliance, whether it's from a regulatory perspective or from the way that we operate. And so we see ourselves continuing to play a significant role in that space while continuing to grow in the global fish and fish protein space.